O te o whalofam whaatalofa atu, ia ele malo le atu nuu o lo maua mai le Nepal kalame mo le tupulanga talavou, ia so whareile taitasi, ma lo le soifua malalangi mama, ma lo tawa ta e tiutim whai vol neva i aso. Po kalama asani le nei mo le tupulanga talavou i whai ungo vai aso taitasi, ia so whareile le awa uli, o te fie whai ulo atu, ia ma lo mo le nei po kalame le nei as whareile, tamaitai ia Ainsleyana Puleiata, o lo mwhai ona whaatasi mai ia I lungo le Zoom ili nei a so wharaile. Tamai ta ia Ainsleyana o lo o ta alo nei I le au ne tipolo a le Pulse, po le Pulse Netball team I nei Wellingtone. Ta alofa lava Ainsleyana, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Can you please tell me a little about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Ainsleyana Puleiata, well, Ainsleyana Puleiata.
Mm.
I currently live in Wellington in Porirua. I come from the villages of Mangiangi and Vaiusu, Utah. And I play netball for the Central Pulse.
Netball? Very
Yes, I
much.
play very much. Love netball.
Thank you. Have you always known that one day you would become a netball player? And what inspired you to take on this career path?
No, I did not think I would become a netball player. I actually started off playing basketball. I thought I was going to be a basketball player. um, but I think what inspired me to take this career path as a netball player started off when I started college at St Mary's College out in Wellington. I was like in the junior A team, and then in the senior A team they had an injury, so they wanted someone from the junior A's to come up, and that's kind of what um, the trigger for me to go from junior A to senior A as a year 9 to be playing with all these year 10s, year 11s, 12, 13 year olds. And then I think from there, the path, like the opportunities, the doors were opening from school netball to club netball to national netball to international netball. So yeah, I think that's what kind of inspired me to take on this career, was that it was a team sport and the doors were just opening quite early for me when I started.
Oh, wow. If you can recall, how many years have you been in the sport, netball?
Oh, that's a great question. It's been a while. um, uh, yeah, no, I can't recall the exact like numbers, but it has been a couple of years since I've been in netball fully.
Cool. Thank you. I want to ask, what do you love most about playing netball? And what is one thing that you are proud of since you started playing?
That's a great question. What I love about netball is the team sport. You know, netball, you can't do it by yourself. There's 7 other players on court. There's also other players on the bench and the management team. You also have your community behind you. So I think that's what I love about the playing netball, is that there's a community in the sport. And I just love how, like, you know, if something doesn't go well, there's somewhere there to back you up, or there's somewhere there to support you. And the one thing that I'm really proud of myself since playing is that I've been through a lot of injuries previously, and they're not like those like niggles, ankle rolls, or those little finger jabs. It's with 3 really serious injuries, and what I'm proud of myself is the resilience to come back to play netball at this level. There's not much people who would, like, you know, go through the injury and then come back to play like professional netball. So that's what I'm pretty proud of myself since playing, is the resilience that I built and the perseverance I've built to come back and not be defined by my injuries.
Thanks, Leon. I commend you for that. Um, what part? I know you're in the Pulse netball team in Millington. What pathway led you to playing for the Pulse netball team, and can you share with us this journey?
Yeah, no, so my journey started off, if I go back, my journey started off with basketball in primary, and then so the netball opportunities started coming once I hit college, which is a big, massive difference from basketball to netball because they're quite different sports, but also the opportunities for netball started coming a bit faster than basketball. So for netball, started off in college, I was playing the junior A's team, I started playing in the senior A's team, and then in between those years, I started making the reps team for Wellington. So there was an under 13 reps, there was an under 15s rep, there was an under 17s rep, and then they've changed all the year group to like opens, under 19s. And then going through all those teams in college, I've also made like the New Zealand netball team, New Zealand netball secondary school team, sorry, when I was I think 10 and 11 and I think 12. And then I missed out on my last year because that's when I had my first serious injury. But that's all right, you know. Resilience and perseverance is what the sport has taught me. And then going out of college, that's when I started playing club out in Wellington, started playing for reps as well, like the opens and yeah, I think netball there was just a team at every milestone that I was just aiming for. And I think from after university, I started going for what they called the Central Manawa team, which is the team just below the Central Pulse. And that's when I got my first like a contract as a training partner, and then kind of started getting looked into to be contracted in the Central Pulse. So a
Oh,
very massive journey.
that's a very wonderful experience and a very wonderful journey. Thank you. My last question before we go into the break, what is something new that you want to learn or improve in netball this year and this season?
That's a good question. There is something that I've want to improve on in netball this year, and that's my mentality. It's so easy to be like, yeah, you know, in this game I'm going to play hard, but there are some pressure moments where I would like to improve on in those areas to know to switch on the what's the next moment, what's my next task, because at the moment I would like normally like dwell on mistakes. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, that was a bad pass, and that just takes me out of the game. So that's something that I would like to improve in this netball season, because at the end of the day, whatever happened in the past happens in the past. I can't change that. But there is also a next moment that I could take as an opportunity and just make do with what I got. So I think that's something that I would like to improve in my netball season, is the mentality in the game at any situation, that I'm always thinking, what's next, what's next, what's next, not, oh no, that was a dumb pass, or oh no, I shouldn't have given it, like that kind of mentality.
Thank you so much. So
Well,
you were the 2022 NNL National Netball League Player of the Year, and you gained your first full contract the following year with Pulse. Congratulations on that milestone. I know you've had your fair share of challenges prior to joining Pulse as well as afterwards, but we will get to that later. I want to ask you though, how did you feel when you were announced Player of the Year? And how did the award come about?
no, that was a great question. I can't even remember how the award came about too. I think someone was just like, "Hey, you're the NNL Netball Player of the Year," and I was like, "What is that?" But that's when like people started coming and they started interviewing me, and I was like, "What is this award? Like, what did I win?" But it was really for me. I think it was really oh, it was a proud moment for me to get this award, because I didn't think anyone was acknowledging, like, you know, my game. But it was quite nice to know that there are people out there who are watching, who would be see how I play and would acknowledge that. But I'm also quite proud of, like, probably not getting the reward, but also just like the opportunity to actually play in the league. And also, like what you said, I've gone through a lot of setbacks previously to get to that moment, and it's quite hard to go from like injuries to then going to play for like a national team, and then getting an award all of a sudden was like a real proud moment for me, because I first of all I just wanted to play netball. I just wanted to get on court, play some netball, and just getting this award was just like a cherry on top of a cupcake.
Well, congratulations. I know you deserve it. Um, Prior to joining Pulse, you suffered career-threatening injuries. Can you share this experience with us, and how was the healing process for you? I believe you also suffered another major injury a few weeks after you joined Pulse, if I'm correct.
Yes, no, you are correct. So yes, I did 3 ACLs in my knees. And I did 2 on my right, and then the most recent one I did on my left. So the first one came about when I was in my last year of college. I was playing rugby sevens for the St. Mary's College, and we were doing pretty well as well. And it was just like a little fun games for us to get prepared for the Condors sevens. And it was just like a little simple movement, little step to the side, and it kind of just gave way. And when it first happened, I was just like, oh, maybe I'm just weak in the leg. Maybe I'm just weak in the leg. And so I went to the side. I was doing some lunges, some squats to see it was still good, and it felt good. But then when I went back on, I just couldn't move like I could prior, and so I knew something happened, and that's when I got told like, hey, you've like done your ACL, and I said, what's an ACL? And they've shown me like it's a ligament in your knee, it's what holds your leg together, and I was like, oh my god, like this is my career done. I'm not playing any sports anymore. But they've encouraged me to go through the rehab. There it will take 9 months for you to recover, and I was like, I can do it, all good, I can do 9 months. And so I've literally rushed through my first ACL rehab, came back, and I went back to netball, and I was playing in the NNL team. I think we were called the Central. I think we were still called Central Manawa. And so I played in the Central Manawa team in 2019, and I ruptured my ACL again, same leg. Um, and it was quite interesting because even when I went back to get a diagnosis, and the surgeon was like, you've done your ACL again, I was like, how did I do my ACL again? And again, it was like a simple movement. Like I was just driving to the pocket, getting a ball, wasn't looking where I was landing, and it kind of just caved in. And the surgeon was like, I've double knotted that hamstring. And I was like, I made sure that was strong. So I had to go for another surgery, and then this process kind of took a bit longer. But it was only a bit longer, not physically, but mentally for me. It was quite tough for me as a young athlete to go through the injury again, the rehab again, and it started, for me, I started doubting myself whether I want to play sports again, whether it was worth going through all this rehab, going through it physically, going through it mentally, just to play netball again. So that that second rehab took a bit longer, but in that rehab, I kind of took opportunities outside of sports. So I started studying. I did a Bachelor in Health, um, majoring in health promotion and population public health service delivery. And then I've also taken like internships as well while I was rehabbing. And once I've got those experiences, I think the passion of netball came back into me. And so I started playing netball again. And I was quite grateful I didn't do my ACL the next year. So that was good. That was a good sign. I didn't rehab properly. But then the third time was the most serious one, but also the most heartbreaking one for me as well. Because like you said, I literally got my first contract as a Pulse player, and it was literally like a couple of weeks into the season. I was playing in the team just below the Pulse team, which is the Central Manawa team, and we went to go play a game against the mainland, a team down in Christchurch, and it and it was again like a simple movement. I was just running straight. Someone was passing me the ball. It kind of was behind me. So I went to go and get it behind me. And as soon as I landed, it just kind of gave in a bit more sorrow than the other two. Um, and so I think for me, it was more heartbreaking because I was away from home. I was down in Christchurch. I only had my uncle there. And so it was nice to have family there, but I was away from my mum, my dad, my support system. And so it was quite tough for me to be all right and be there for the team while trying to go through, trying to process that I've done not only my ACL, but I did my MCL as well and a bit of my meniscus. So it was more serious than the other two. And so coming back home, that's when I kind of just went, nah, I've got to get out of this environment. And so I kind of took myself out, and then I had to go through the surgery, and it was a bit complicated because I couldn't use my hamstrings no more because I've used it previously for the other two. So I had no more hamstrings to do my ACL construction. And then I was trying to be funny and be like, can I use someone else's hamstrings? But no one was offering. So I had to use my quad as my ligament, which is quite different. But I know that it's something that I've got to do if I want to play netball. And so the third ACL was a bit tough for me, and it took a bit longer for me to come back to netball, but I was really grateful for the support system that was surrounding me in that third rehab to get me back, because there were moments where I did doubt whether I want to play netball, whether I want to be playing sport as a career, or whether I just want to go back to, like, studying at uni, or if I want to go and get a job, because I built that career outside of netball when I was doing my second ACL rehab. But yeah, the third one was a bit hard. It took me a whole year to get through the rehab process, and then it took me an extra 6 months because I had issues with my range of motion, and so I had to get another surgery just to clean out the scar tissues that was restricting my motion. But again, without my support system, like my physio, my strength and conditioning coaches, my family especially, my netball community, I would never have gone through the third one. And then to come back and get another contract with the Central Pulse was something that I never in my dreams would have imagined would receive.
Alola. How did your coach in the post administration respond to your third ACL injury?
Oh, they were gutted, eh? They were gutted. It was literally because I did it literally before the game, before they actually played the game. So in netball, we've got this thing called an opening curtain game, and that's when, like, the team just below the ANZ teams, they play as an open curtain raisers. And so that's the game that I was playing, and literally the next game I would have been back into the Pulse versus Tactics game then. But honestly, just watching them come, as I was literally on the physio table, ice on my knee, tears coming down my face, and like the girls were coming out, they were walking out, and I was just like, oh, I can't do this. But they all came and they were giving me hugs and giving me, reassurance to be like, you're okay, we've got you. But they still have a game to play. So this was before they even got on court. So to know that they had my back was, like I said before, is why I like netball. I love netball, is that community and also the support system you get from the sport. And so, like, just watching them come and they were like, oh, like, what happened? I was like, I did my ACL again. Was like really guttering, but to know that they were there with me as well, and to know that they had my back, even though they had a game to focus on, was really reassuring to me, to know that I'm not in this alone.
Thank you. My next question is, I know that dedication and commitment are very, very crucial in the life of any athlete, and resilience as well, as you've mentioned. How do you manage and balance other commitments, such as your family, probably commitments at church, maybe work, outside of your netball career?
No, definitely. I'm a really organized person. So at the moment, I'm doing full-time netball with the Central Pulse this season, but I also work part-time as a policy advisor at the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment, MBIE. So I'm actually really, like, off to myself for trying to be organized. And I think for me, the dedication and commitment is for I'm actually doing this for myself and for my family. For myself, to know that I can play netball, the sport that I love, but also do part time to know that I'm building a career after netball. There are times where, like, people think that netball's for life, but there's going to be a time where you've got to hang up the shoes, you've got to hang up the dress, and that's when you've got to think of, like, what's the Anna or the Ainsleyana that's not a netball player? What's Ainsleyana outside of netball? And that's the beauty of, not the beauty of when I did my second ACL, but the beauty of when I had to do my second rehab, where I had the opportunity to discover who I am outside of netball. And that's when I, went to uni, did some internship, had a bit of taste of like different career areas, and it kind of landed in policy. So that's where I'm at today. And so I think the dedication and commitment is for me, um, to know, to discover who I am in netball and who I am outside of netball, and also the dedication commitment to my family to be like, they were the stepping stones to shape me to who I am today, and also to pave the pathway of, you know, me going to school, me going to do like netball opportunities and all that stuff. So yeah, I think it's just me being organized and having that my why value and on the top of my mind to know that I'm doing netball, I'm doing work, I'm doing like anything for myself and for my family.
Thank you so much again for agreeing to join us on our youth program. Your journey during your injuries, your resilience and everything, I acknowledge and I commend you for that. I know it is a challenge. I cannot imagine um, the obstacles and the challenges that you have been through. So, congratulations again on your contract with Pulse this season. My last few questions for you. I want to ask you, what advice do you have for those who are watching who may want to pursue or are already pursuing the sport, netball? And how can challenges bring the best in all of us in the end?
No, that's a great question. An advice that I have for anyone who's watching or who's listening, who would want to pursue or is already pursuing netball, is literally just embrace the challenges. There's going to be times where tough gets going and you're going to be like thinking and doubting yourself. But honestly, it's about the journey, not the outcome. The outcome is your goal, but it's about the journey and the people you meet, the team you make, the connections, the relationships you're able to create along the way. And like, there's gonna be times where you don't make the top team, or you make the bottom team, but that's all right. Like, don't get disheartened about what teams you're in. Just think about, and this is an opportunity to you to learn, to grow, to ask questions, things like learn from your peers, learn from your coaches, and like just embrace the moment and the challenge. That's my advice to everyone. Embrace the moment and embrace the challenge. And definitely, like, challenges can bring the best out of everyone. It can also create, like, what we say, resilience or perseverance. And I think that's really important for everyone not to shy away from the challenge, is to literally embrace it, literally run it straight to them, and then just take the learnings out of it.
Thank you, Ainsleyana. My next question for you is, what are your plans for this season, and what do you wish to improve in your performance? I hope not another ACL injury.
No, I don't have that in my plans. So. Not anytime soon, please. I'm getting old to do any more rehab. That was a great question. What are my plans for the season? I think my plans for the season is to continue to grow. I've in the Central Pulse, we've got some amazing talent. We've got Ina Marie, who's from South Africa, who has travelled around the world. She's played in the England League. She's played in the Australian League. So for her to come to New Zealand is quite exciting. We've also got like the veterans like Amelia Icanasio. We've got Paris Mason, who's in the team, and are also our co-captains. We've also got some young guns like Edina and Maddie Thompson, both from New Zealand, and we've got some new bloods like Holly, Emma Thompson, and Lil. So our team are quite diverse in terms of like where they come from, which is nice because they bring a different style of netball. They bring different perspectives. So I think my plan for this season is to learn as much as I can from these girls, and also from our coaches, Anna and Liana. Um, they see a different perspective from me. for me to grow my game is to be open-minded and also just take every opportunities at trainings, at games, at like analysis sessions to just ask questions, and just try and see the netball through their eyes as well, not just mine.
Malo lava whawhaitai. My last question for you before we finish our program. Who do you credit for your success and your journey thus far?
Oh, myself. No.
Oh, no.
No. I was like, I can't take all the credit. No.
Oh.
To be honest, like yeah, I can't take all the credit. Nah. I would literally like looking back at my journey and to think that I went through a lot through netball, but also created a new pathway to get like a working career for like the Ainsleyana outside of netball. I would honestly just give credit to my family, especially my parents, my mum and dad. Literally without them and their like their sacrifices during my childhood to get me through, you know, to primary, to college, to get me to my sports trainings, my games. It's like a sacrifice that they've done, and it's kind of shaped and molded to be man. They've shaped me to be the person that I am today. And also like the success, you know, they've been my number one supporters. And like I would hear my mum in the crowd. My dad's like, you know, those silent ninja assassins who are just in the corner of the court, just like nodding. And, you know, when we get in the car, he has everything to say about my stepping and my passing and my no look passes and all that stuff. And like mum's like the big cheerleader. So I definitely would give the credit to my parents for the success and the journey that I've been so far, and to know that without them, I wouldn't have both netball and work as a career.
Thank you so much, Ainsleyana, for your words of wisdom and for your wonderful experience and journey, and for sharing this with me and with the rest of our viewers on our youth program this afternoon. I wish you all the best with this year's endeavors and with the season and with netball and with everything that you set your mind to. Resilience, embracing the challenges and embracing the moment. Whaftai te lava Ainsleyana, whaftai atu fo'oi, ia i le malo tatou atu nuu, whapeon mafuta mai, ia le tatou polkalame le ia o uli. Taimi fo'i lava tasi, i le asfarai le lumana e te whaawawai, ia polkalame mo tupulanga talavou. Manuia tele, ti utim whai o tutoi mo le nei aso, ai mo le taimi nei, so i fua ma ia manuia.